wanted to share with you.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us tonight. Our first live show in 2022. And I have Dr. Smita agreed to be the first guinea pig for 2020 year, for the 22 year. And I'm so thankful. I met her through another friend in Richmond, Virginia, Carol Louie. And so I have the pleasure of having Dr. Smita on the show. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself, please, Dr. Smita?
Yes. First of all, I'm really honored to be the first guest on the show this year. Thank you for that. And secondly, I am a past life regression therapist. I was trained by Dr. Brian Weiss and Dr. Linda Backman in past life regression and between lives soul regression modalities. I'm also an artist and a arts educator, and I have a doctorate in education from the University of Illinois, Urbana. And I'm really happy to be here. I am a mother of two girls. I'm very active in our local community as an activist and a volunteer. So, really clued into my world here inside and out.
I'm so thankful that you brought up being an activist because I think that's really important to talk about in 2022 because of what's happened in the past couple of years. It's really important that we all come together and create something very special and not let that be something that just went by the wayside and not learn from it. Can you tell our listeners what you learned from that whole experience for yourself?
Oh yeah. I mean all of us we've been witness to what has been going on. It's been 2 years. I have actually not seen my parents since 2019, and my parents live in India. Um, so there's a lot of family and friends I haven't been able to meet in person. But what has happened is I feel our connections have grown deeper. The heart based connections have gotten deeper because we were forced to not meet people we love. And so we ended up connecting with them a little bit more, even though, online or via phone or Facebook. So I ended up making a whole lot of new friends because of COVID. And my community has grown incredibly. And it's just been a time of going within, but also a time of going deeper and connecting deeper with the community. So, yeah.
Oh man, I totally agree with you. I had the pleasure of meeting you at one of Carol Louie's uh was I guess a little symposium or something. I don't
Mhm.
know what she called
The
it.
Reincarnation Symposium.
Yes, exactly. And it was a nice group of people there that was there and I would have never met you guys if I'd not gone to that. And it's a great way to connect with other human beings that are like-minded. That's the weird thing. Even though with COVID and we've been shut down, we've been able to connect and we were like-mind.
And that's one of the things I'm noticing, that the connections that are happening are with folks that we really can deeply connect to, and not like have these surface level sort of connections. Because, in the past, you could go out with folks and you could party, you could do things, and now you can't really do any of that. So when you do connect with somebody, it is at a deeper level. Carol and I actually met for the first time in December, just this past December. But we just got to know each other early in 2021.
Wow, that is really incredible. And then I met you at the end of 2021.
Right.
And here we are today doing the show, which is really incredible. And just let me say, I'm sorry that you haven't been able to see your parents. That's got to be disheartening.
Well, thank God for Zoom and these other, audio video ways of connecting. At least I am able to talk to them on a daily basis, and I'm able to see how they're doing, even if I'm not able to actually be there with them. Uh, Hopefully soon, hopefully this year, I will be able to do a trip to India. That's my hope.
I'm keeping my fingers crossed for you too as well. So you have a business there in California. What's the name of your business?
It's called Kinder Way Healing. It is a small home based holistic healing business. And through this business, I offer past life regression therapy and also spiritual mentoring. And, if somebody wants a Reiki healing or an oracle card reading, I do all of that. But I would say that it's mostly soul regression therapies, which are central to the work I do.
And what does that look like? I mean, what exactly does somebody do, and how does that progress? So if somebody's interested in doing that, how would that go about for them?
Yeah, so they just have to reach out to me. I have a website, kinderwayhealing.com, or they can reach out to me through Facebook. I have a Facebook page also with the same name, Kinder Way Healing. I have an Instagram account also called Kinder Way Healing. So there are different ways to reach out to me. My email is kinderwayhealing@gmail.com. Just email me. I'm a very one-on-one person. So whoever reaches out to me, I connect with them, you know, in person and figure out what's the best way to work with them. And we then decide what kind of regression therapy to do with them. There are a few different kinds, and because everybody comes with a different issue, and the beauty of past life regression or soul regression, as I call it, is that it allows for people to release blocks that come from different things. Sometimes it's past lives, sometimes it's uh, present life experiences they may have had at some point. It's always a block. It's either a health issue, it's a relationship issue, or a job related issue. There are all these different kinds of issues that people have, and pretty much everything can be addressed through soul regression work.
So is that soul regression work? Is that like lifetime therapy? Like if you're going to a counselor and you're working out issues that way, or is it like would you just go a couple of times and then the blockages are released?
So yeah, you don't need to be doing it your entire life. It totally depends on your issue, and it totally depends on uh, the client. I never tell a client that, hey, you might need another session, or you need to sign up for a second or third session. They always know. It involves bringing them in touch with their soul and with their guides. So they begin to get information directly from their own soul and their guides. And their soul and their guides, if they have been able to connect really well, will let them know if they need more than one session. I do have some repeat clients, and then I have clients who are pretty happy and satisfied with one session with me, and it's all good.
I got you, but you even take it a step further and join them in their deep state and you're walking with them. Isn't that correct?
Mhm. Yes, and this is something I found during my training, but I did not really believe myself enough at the time. When I found that when I took them into through the process of hypnosis to say a past life, I found I could see and hear pretty much everything that they were seeing or experiencing. And initially, I thought, this is interesting. I am seeing what they're seeing. Uh, but really, are we seeing the same thing? But then they would tell me what they were seeing, and I would get confirmation after confirmation of that. And then I started to feel a little more confident about what I was seeing. And the great thing about that is I'm able to be with them in a way where they can let go of, their fears and everything, knowing that I'm there with them. I hold that space for them.
Mm-hmm.
And once we have received whatever they needed to receive from that situation, that past life, um, we are then able to move back into this space here and discuss the takeaways and the lessons learned.
Wow. So how long is like a session with you then? Because I mean, it sounds like a lot right there. Is that like a half day session or?
Well, it depends on what kind of session they choose to do. So, a typical past life regression session would be about 2 to 2.5 hour long session. I do advise everybody to kind of take it easy rest of the day because many folks haven't been to that space before, and it's going deep into your subconscious. And once you open that door, sometimes there's more information coming through. And so you just want to take it a little easy and not, fill up your day with different activities, but really take it easy so you can allow for that information to come through. Also, the guides connect with you a little bit better, and you become more aware of them. So, um, an open communication happens between the guides and the person who undergoes the process. So, that would be about 2 to 2.5 hour long. And if people just want to meet their guides, then I do have a special session, which is about an hour long, where you can just meet your guides. And you don't really go into a past life. You don't really, go into any specific space to clear or heal anything, but you uh, connect with your guides and you start receiving messages from them. So that would be the shorter sessions. The longest session would be a Between Lives Soul Regression. So that is like accessing the time between two lifetimes. And that
Wow.
involves a deeper hypnosis. And that session it runs about 4 to 5 hours long.
Right. Wow. I can imagine. I was like, I knew that one had to be like half a day right there in itself.
Yeah.
And it's and so you're able to do this not just in your clinic, but you could do it with somebody over Zoom or the telephone or
Mhm.
anything like that,
Yes,
correct?
absolutely. Yes. And, this is one of the things we found during COVID, is the ability to do these sessions successfully over Zoom, um, or, even Facebook Messenger, actually, with the audio video on. Um, we found, as in I think the community of hypnotherapists, all of us found that these could be successfully done over Zoom. And the great thing is that we can record them and send them to our clients, and
Oh,
so they have access to their sessions that way. So there's a lot of benefits to that, actually.
yeah, I would think that being in the comfort of your own home and going into a deep meditation for this type of work to because you do need to go deep when you're doing this type of work,
Mhm.
like being the comfort of your home and feeling safe and secure. Because I know when I went to have my first past life regression back in the 90s, like I was not comfortable at all. sitting in somebody's office in a reclining chair, and it's just very uncomfortable. But I love the fact that Zoom has allowed us to come along and say, hey, you can stay and lay in your own bed and do this. And it's going to be, you can feel comfortable and really let go of
Yeah,
the fact.
and the other great thing is that yeah, and the other great thing is that, in these sessions, people can easily get up and go use the restroom. And, when they're in their own space, they're really relaxed. They know if they need to use the restroom in the middle of a session, they know where to go. You know, it's just so easy to do these online.
So we have a question from one of the listeners, and they want to know what's the difference between past life and in between life regressions.
In a past life regression session, uh, it is understood that all of us have had several lifetimes, several hundred lifetimes. Um, and so sometimes there may be something traumatic, for example, something really traumatic that may have occurred in a specific lifetime, and the trauma just kind of stays with you. The We call it soul impressions. So those impressions get carried from lifetime to lifetime, unless we've actually done some inner work to release them. And when those soul impressions get carried, at some point in a particular lifetime, they become either disease, somebody might get cancer, or they become a big block in your success. So what we do is through hypnosis, and it's not a very deep hypnosis, it's kind of a light trance state. I would take you back into that past life where that event occurred, face that event. We would release the pain and whatever psychological trauma that we experienced during that event, we would release it. And then when we come back, um, it's kind of released from our system, and the block gets released pretty magically. And I've seen the magic happen, and the person can move forward in this life. It's just an incredible process. So that would be what a typical past life regression would entail. um, I do want to clarify, what I practice is hypnotherapy. So the therapy bit is a big part of it. There are hypnotists who can take you to a past life just to figure out what you were, what kind of life you had. It's a little more sort of like a fun uh, trek back into your past. I don't really do that. What I do is the therapy bit, where if somebody's really having a hard time, uh, we go look in their past to see what may be stopping them from feeling good and moving forward in this life. So that process is about 2.5 hour long. Now, in between lives, what happens is the goals for both processes are different. In a past life, you go back into a past life to clear something. Between lives is really meant only for those who want to know their soul's purpose. Why am I here? What have I been doing lifetime after lifetime? Um, it's for those who have the strong feeling that they are here to serve in some way, or that they have a purpose, but they don't really understand what this is. So they want to connect with their soul. They want to connect with their counsel, with their guides in a much deeper way. And that entails going back into that part of this multidimensional universe, uh, going back to that energetic dimension where your soul resides. and meeting with your counsel. And then the council provides you with information on what you really do as a soul, and what is your purpose in this lifetime and through different lifetimes that you have lived. So that process involves going into a past life. And when you die in that past life, um, that's when I take you off Earth and into you take a journey to the specific energetic dimension where your soul goes back to when it dies. And then you meet your loved ones, often who have passed on. You meet your guides, your council. Some souls here are from other planetary realms. They're from other star systems. They go back to the part of the universe they call home. And it's a very emotional, a very heart-wrenching and emotional meeting usually, but very profound. And it does take that much time, about 4 to 5 hours. And then
Wow.
once they have received all that information, we come back into our body, we come back to Earth, and take those messages, and those messages then guide us in moving forward with our journey.
Yes, and that's one of the big messages I keep getting this year is moving. We got to move forward. We got to keep moving. Get up and move. Do something, just like Dr. Smita is an activist in her area with the earth, and we all need to take that practice. But I wanted to ask you a question about going in and the in between life stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You talked about the elder council. Do we all
Mm-hmm.
have the same elder counselors, or is that they're all different for everybody?
They're all different. Um, they're all different for everybody. And I would like to bring in some of the research that I've studied, which is done by Dr. Michael Newton, the late Dr. Michael Newton, who wrote extensively about Between Lives Soul Regression. And he was a pioneer in the area. And then his student, Dr. Linda Backman, who's my teacher. Um, and Linda Backman's taken Michael Newton's work forward because she has found more information on how the councils work with different kinds of souls. So each soul who is here, say to serve a purpose, a larger purpose, perhaps who is serving here as an activist, um, they would go back and meet with their council, and their council may be made of 1 or 4 to 5 people, or energetic beings.
Mm-hmm.
These energetic beings would either be ascended masters. They will be very high level energetic beings. They would be ascended masters. They would be folks who are present alive on the earth, and you know them or you may not know them, but they're alive and they're doing their work, but you just didn't know that they were on your council. um, and I know souls who have one, just one ascended master who is
Right.
guiding them, and I know souls who have more than one. The councils are very interesting. They are never lovey-dovey. They
No.
don't express any emotion. If you've had one, you would know.
Mm-hmm.
They would they are very matter of fact, and but then their love, is there. You don't doubt their love for you,
Right.
even though they don't express any love or emotion. So they often wear emblems. If you have, say, a council of 4, they would somehow be seated in like a semicircular,
Mhm.
either standing or sitting or just energetically hovering there. People have expressed all sorts of ways. They've described their councils in all sorts of ways. And then if there's 4 or 5, they would all be dressed almost exactly alike.
Right.
And so there would be an emblem or something they might have, and that would be the emblem that you carry. It's almost like your stamp or your badge, and that's always very meaningful. And so there are souls, as we have found, who do not have a council. And these souls are extremely highly energetic souls. They are either from the angelic realm, or they are souls from other realms where their level, the level of their frequency is so high that they don't really need any guides. And in fact, they are guides to others.
Right.
So there are souls like that as well.
So
So
when
I
they
just
cross over, they don't even have people waiting for them or anything like
no,
that. They just go and then they
they
decide
just
if they're going to
go.
come back and if they are going to do it or whatever. Right. I've heard about that. Me personally, I better have a bunch of
Yes.
people waiting on the other side for me. I mean
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. So it looks like you have had you've experienced a between life soul regression. Is that right?
Well, sorta. This happened when I was a teenager. I was out in my backyard on a swing and I was playing a trumpet and I got into a zone and then I saw a council of about 5 elders and they were at a straight line table and they looked at me and they said,
Mhm.
"You weren't supposed to come back that quick." That was the message I got. So I
So
have a
looks like
feeling
you
I'm in
left your body.
trouble. I already got the feeling I'm in trouble when I come back over on the other side. So I'm not in a hurry to die anytime soon because I'm going to have a little preaching going on when I cross over.
Yeah, they can be a little preachy,
Yeah.
but they're also, they don't hold you, it's not like you're held like a prisoner or a culprit or whatever. You're not judged at all. You are guided that, well, here's what you could have done, but guess what, we have another lifetime waiting for you that you can go back to, and you get another chance.
So I wanted to talk about blockages. Are most people's blockages something that they have from a past life, or is it lineage blockage, or is it a combination of the two?
It can be anything. It can be a combination of the two as well. And I can give you a really good example of somebody I worked with recently, just last month. And this person went back to a lifetime and saw his grandfather, and turned out it was him. He was his own grandfather.
Wow.
And and his grandfather had passed away before he was born. So he realized that in that particular lifetime, um, he was trying to follow a very rigid sort of, um, like, how the masculine in our society has been forced to work within a very rigid structure.
Hmm.
So he was just doing what he thought was best for his family, but obviously it wasn't, because he wasn't really working from his heart. He was just following what the society expected of him. But he was able to see um, how that affected the next generation and the generation that came after, which is him now in this lifetime. And it helped him see why his father turned out the way he had turned out, because he always had issues with his father.
Mm-hmm.
And he was able to see all of that and realize that he's gotten this chance to come back and stop that cycle that was going on in his family.
Wow.
So it was really powerful. And that's how you can actually clear something that's been going on in the lineage, you know. Um, and now with past lives, I have so many examples. I worked with somebody who was born in a particular part of India, and they had lifelong issues with their throat. Um, so this woman, she had to take antibiotics almost every year,
Mm-hmm.
annually, like because she just had constant throat infections and she couldn't understand why. So when I regressed her, she went back to this lifetime where she was a freedom fighter when the British, were colonizing India, and there was this group of freedom fighters that she belonged to. Um, and she was caught by the British. We went to the scene where she was caught and she was hanged to death.
Oh,
And that's where we saw her issues came from. It was the hanging. So we went there, we cleared that trauma out, and she really hasn't had any issues.
that is so amazing.
So again, a really beautiful, yeah. Another time, somebody came to me who had issues related to his kidneys. So he was in pain. He was going to go in for surgery because the doctor said, well, you have kidney stones. And we went into certain past lives and found that he was carrying guilt from certain past lives. And the guilt just kind of sat in his body, moved lifetime to lifetime with him. We cleared out the guilt, and I would say within 48 hours, he had passed out the kidney stones naturally. He never had to go in for the surgery.
That
So
is great.
it's powerful. Yeah.
It is powerful.
And
What
one more example that I can give last year, somebody I worked with, and it was during my regression, while the regression was going on, that she got an email from a company that she had wanted so badly to work at, but she hadn't received, and she had kind of stopped hoping she would ever hear from them. She heard from them during the regression.
wow.
She couldn't believe it, and now she's working at that company and doing well.
That is awesome. Do you ever find that like certain conditions for people like heart issues or something like that, and you go into past life regression, might have been like a broken heart or lost a loved one that they never got over or anything like that? Oh, it looks like you lost me, didn't you? Because you're frozen there. Well, it looks like we're having a little technical difficulty, people. Well, let's see if it'll come back live here.
I missed that, Sandy. I think the connection is a little bit problematic.
Yeah, it goes in and out sometimes. My question was, is like certain type of ailments, is there a commonality between people, like maybe a heart condition? Could that be like a broken heart from a past life
Mhm.
or something like that? Do you find those commonalities in your past life regressions?
Yes, for sure. It's either that. So if we just look at somebody with heart condition, there's two things to look at. Has this condition been um, present in the family as a genetic condition, or is this something that just this person, has developed? If it is genetic, so they've had a few more people in the family with the same condition, then it's definitely a familial issue. It's a lineage issue where the heart chakra hasn't really been used, and there needs to be a heart opening that needs to happen in that family. Um, or if it is just that one person who has developed heart disease, that could be because of um, a past life where they may have experienced a heartbreak. A lot of women with breast cancer, you know,
Mm-hmm.
um, when they go through a regression, we can see the connection between, um, heartbreak and breast cancer. Um,
Wow,
so yeah,
that is mind blowing. It
it's
really is.
mhm.
So the women that you go through with the past life regressions with breast cancer, do are after they go through a regression, are they healed of their cancer?
you know, not necessarily. Um, but they have a deeper understanding of it. They have a deeper understanding of why they have that ailment. And
Mhm.
once they come to terms, with, because a lot of times when people get a dreaded disease, the question of why me, right? Why
Mhm.
did this have to happen to me? I've done everything right in my life, so why am I suffering? These are some of the questions that come naturally to you if you develop one of those, dreaded diseases. So at least if that question gets answered through a past life regression, then you have a better understanding of what your soul went through and why it has that ailment. And when you come to a deeper understanding, something in you gets cleared out, and you can then gain strength to face what you're facing. Um, I think even that helps in your recovery.
Yeah, I would think that would
And
too.
of
That's
course,
yeah, that's a
and
really
and one
beautiful
of the
thing.
things I do want to mention, yeah, is one of the things that Dr. Weiss taught us, which is really powerful, is how to talk to your ailment. Um, again, in a hypnosis session, how to talk to your ailment as a friend and see why it chose your body. And it's a powerful way of connecting to the ailment and figuring out why it exists.
Well, I like that. Dr. Weissman, Dr. Brian Weiss, tell me what it was like to go and be in a classroom with him and learn from him because he's amazing.
Oh, he's an incredible soul. And I think he has changed so many lives around the world. My connection with him is definitely from past lives, and it's actually even beyond lives. I have no doubt about it. Um, because I talk about how I was trying to overcome my fear of death, and his book, Many Lives, Many Masters, came my way. And the more I read his work, the more I was able to get rid of my fear of death. And then, when I was guided to go into past life regression therapy um, as something I could practice to help people, I could only think of going to him for my training. And so I signed up for my training with him at Omega Institute. And a month before my training with him, I started to get visions in which he was training me, but not here, not on Earth plane. We were somewhere else in another realm. And he was teaching me stuff I totally got, in my visions, but I would wake up not remembering anything that he told me.
Wow.
But I just had a sense that it was going somewhere inside. I was absorbing it because once I got to Omega, I found that I totally knew how to do regression work. Like it just flowed out of me during the practice sessions. And being there with him um, was just otherworldly. Like he's like a sage, and he's so loving. And I feel that the people who go to him to train with him become a part of that circle of love, and they have a deeper understanding of love. And there's really incredible healing that happens in his training. So I went through a really deep healing when I was training with him. Um, so yeah, I can't say enough about his presence and the beauty of his soul. He's just so beautiful.
I was also reading something about you and twin souls and twin flames. And I was wondering if you could share with our listeners what that's about.
Yeah. So sometimes a soul, and this would not be a normal soul. So just letting you know that I am obviously not a normal soul, and it's not like an ego-based thing at all. It's just who I am. That sometimes there are certain souls um, who are present on Earth in multiple bodies, and there are differences in what kind of souls would come here in different bodies. So pretty much all twin flames or twin souls, and I use these terms interchangeably, although I'm aware that some people feel there's a difference between the two. But twin souls and twin flames are one soul that is present in two different bodies, and they are present in polarity. So if we look at any soul, as such, any soul has no gender. A soul is actually neutral.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but within the soul, there is a perfect balance um, of masculine and feminine polarities. And, I shouldn't really say there's a perfect balance always. Sometimes a soul may be a little more feminine, it may have a little more feminine vibration versus a masculine. But in twin souls, the polarities are really beautifully balanced. And but when they take the human avatar, when they come here in human incarnation, they come separated in masculine and feminine polarities. And this is what differentiates a twin soul from another type of soul that may also be present in multiple bodies, where they're present here in multiple bodies but not in the polarities. um, so then one wonders, well, why would a soul be sent here in these two uh, opposing polarities, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the reason is that for them, it is to bring to balance the masculine and feminine polarities on the earth plane. Because here on the earth plane, the feminine has been really brutally suppressed. And the masculine has also had to work under really rigid, kind of a situation. So there's an understanding that for Earth to ascend, the polarities need to come to a balance so they can finally discover divine love, and a foundation of divine love can be created for the new Earth. And so they are sent in these two bodies, and when they meet, sometimes they meet, sometimes they don't meet, sometimes they are only one part is sent here, the other part helps from the energetic plane where they are at. It shows up in very different ways for each twin soul. So some souls, um, they come here as twin souls and they work the balance out by interacting with each other. Some work the balance out by not interacting with each other. Some work the balance out by one of the souls being here and the other part being in the energetic plane. So I'm not sure I'm explaining this really well. But basically, a twin soul is very deeply connected. They are deeply connected because they are actually one soul that shows up as two. And they are totally devoted to each other. They are always working on serving the earth. They're always working to bring the polarities into a balance. Now let's look at, say, another soul, which is not a twin soul, but it is also present here in multiple bodies. And we have those souls here as well. What would differentiate them from a twin soul is that they're not really working on balancing the polarities between the masculine and feminine. And so they don't even have an awareness of each other. So one part of your soul, maybe, say, in India, playing doctor. Another part of your soul, maybe in Finland, being an athlete. And so the only reason for you to be present here in multiple bodies is to grow exponentially as a soul, but they're not here for any big specific purpose. And that's my belief. Versus a twin soul who are here really for a very specific purpose, which is to bring the polarities to a balance. So we have, the feminine coming to balance with the masculine.
So would they have the same birthday in the same year? These twin flames?
No. In fact, most do not, because our soul really does not work that way. Birthdays and birth times and years are all meant for Earth, and as a soul, you don't really follow time the way we do on Earth.
Right.
So they don't have those conditions. In fact, in some cases, twin souls are several years apart. They may be 10, 20 years apart, because what they do is when they come on Earth, they break the set patterns of relationships. And so why would you want to break the set patterns? Is because all the harm that's happened within relationships has happened because those patterns have gotten set. Like somebody from one religion cannot marry somebody else from another religion, or somebody who's 20 years older, um, and their twin soul or their loved one is 20 years younger, would be looked down upon by the way we have created our society. So a lot of these uh, barriers that we have created to experiencing beautiful love is what these twin souls have come to break down, so we can move into the area of more unified love, more non-judgmental space for love to grow and happen.
Yeah, the judgmental thing though is really hard for all of us human beings, and especially for ourselves.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So it involves, breaking down the barriers within ourselves, that we are conditioned with. When you're born in a certain kind of society where they have all these rules, around how relationships need to happen. And, um, some of that, a lot of that is not what source or God or divine tells us to do. It's the rules we've created here. And a lot of those rules involve suppression of women.
Yes. Yes, it
And
does.
right. So a lot of those rules involve not allowing love to blossom, pure divine love to blossom. So um, it is my belief, it is my understanding that in order to progress as a society, as a culture, as humanity, we need to break down a lot of those barriers to love. And that's what Twin Souls are here to do.
Absolutely amazing. Um, One earlier when you were talking about past life regression and the woman from India with the throat condition and being hung,
Mhm.
I noticed that she was in India before. Do we stay in the same regional area in multiple lifetimes, do you think?
Well, in her case, she did, but that's not always true. Um, I know of cases where people um, are born, say, in South America, but they see a really horrific past life in Europe. And in one of those cases, the person's accent changed when they were being regressed. So it was really interesting that they grew up in South America and then here in North America, and they had never been to this part of Europe, but their accent changed during a regression. So it's not like a done thing that if you um, were born in a certain culture in this lifetime, that you would go back to a past life in that culture. That's not a done thing.
Right.
um, because as a soul you want to actually experience different cultures. You want to experience a lot of different contrasting situations. That's how you grow as a soul, through contrast. And as so you would choose different parts of the world to grow. But for example, it's possible that in her case she may still be deeply connected soul level to that particular region, and because her trauma came from there, one of her deepest traumas came from that region, that she was born again in that region. And it was to work that trauma out.
I find that extremely amazing. And you know, India, from I've never been there personally, but it looks like it must be one of the hardest places in the planet to grow up. You know what I mean? I mean, there's a lot of people there, and I have like one of my thing is I don't like to be around a whole lot of people at the same time, so I would be like freaking out, you know, being in that situation.
Well, if you were born there, that would be normal for you, so you wouldn't notice.
I wouldn't
I
pay
mean,
attention.
yeah, it would be normal for you. And I have to tell you, it's a very, very special land. And I say that not only because it's my motherland, but also because um, so much information, so much of what we know about reincarnation came from India and was brought into this world. Um, the religions or belief systems that we call Hinduism, Buddhism, they are based in reincarnation, and they have already done a great deal of research into these areas, and this information is present in our ancient texts. It's completely accepted there.
Hmm.
So there's a kind of freedom that you have when you look at the stuff, versus I think in Western countries where you still have to kind of work hard at convincing people um, on things like reincarnation.
Oh yeah.
um, so so I feel like a lot of what we know in this part of the world, um, we know because of the foundation that was set by Hindu philosophy and Buddhist philosophy, and their belief systems in reincarnation.
Well, I tell you, I'm just amazed by I'm just going to tell you a little short story here. When I first moved to Florida and I moved over on the East Coast, I went to a small town called Hope Sound. That's Hobsound, Hope Sound. And the
Hmm.
first person I met there, she was from India, but by way of the Bahamas. They had lived in the Bahamas, and then they had gotten a place there in Hope Sound, and I rented from them. And I was a devout Baptist at the time that I met this very special human being in my life. And she taught me so many amazing things that started me on my path to learning about all this stuff, you know, and realizing the things that have happened in my past as a child and what I've experienced was all part of the process that I didn't really comprehend until I met this very beautiful special lady that allowed me to come into her house and be a part of their family. And that's, you know, you're right, being brought up Baptist, you know, I'm from the South, and you didn't talk about that. There's no reincarnation. When you die, you go to heaven if you're lucky, or if you pissed off somebody, you're going to hell, right? And there was a lot of guilt based on my religion that I learned, right? And so this lady taught me that, you know,
Hmm.
we're here to love each other and to help support each other. And then she talked about when you pass over, if you're I guess she was Hindu, when you pass over there's different levels of the mansion or something on the other side.
Hmm.
Is that correct?
Hmm.
I mean,
And now
so
we, yes. Yes, and it's incredible that now when you listen to or you read about the research that's been done by those who have experienced near death, or who've actually done um, deeper work into this, um, we know that there's different energetic dimensions. We talk a lot about moving into the fifth dimension nowadays, and
mhm.
there's people in New Age talking about different dimensions. But the thing is, we've always known in Hinduism that there are different dimensions. We've always known about um, because that whole belief system over there is not based in humanity being sinners, but then being human means having the opportunity to actually do good, you know, for the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's a totally different mindset. I don't know. Am I making sense here?
No, you are.
You
You
know,
are. I
like,
totally get it.
right? Because it's not like we are born sinners or whatever. You're not. You're born with a clean slate. And so you have this opportunity each lifetime to create a beautiful life where can you can become this being um, who spreads the message of love, or you can become an evil person. It's your choice, and whatever choices you make, you then kind of work your karma out in your next lifetime, and your guides will let you know, your council of elders will let you know, hey, you messed up over there.
Right. Well, it kind of reminds me of the book that Donald Walsh wrote. Donald Neil Walsh. I call it The Little Soul in the
Mhm,
Sun. And I think it
mhm.
does take some people agreeing to be very dark over on on the Earth planet for us to experience
Yes.
our light and see that, to bring
Mhm.
the light into the darkness. And so I think we all take turns, helping each other out to experience our own little light. Because if we were always in the light, we wouldn't know how great we were, because we'd all be the same, right?
Yes, that's true. That's true. And like I said earlier, that we gain spiritual advancement through experiencing contrast. So, contrast means opposing values. So, you experience one lifetime where you are like this wonderful person, everything is good. And then you experience a lifetime where, you're like murdering somebody, and so you get to see all sides of it. So somebody I worked with, they found a lifetime when they were a slave, and they're a white person in this life, but they went back to a lifetime where they were a slave who had been brought from Africa, and they were chained, and that person experienced the pain of what it was like to be a slave. So, you are given these choices to experience a contrast, so you can begin to understand the different aspects, and you can look at things from different perspectives. And as it's like adding more facets to your diamond. So the more facets you add, the deeper understanding you have of yourself as a soul and of how this universe works. And that's how you grow.
Yeah, I really love the opportunity. I don't know if you ever studied numerology. But numerology, the Jesus Christ and Buddha and Krishna, they were all 33 vibrations, and they never come back on the planet, right? And so when we make it past 33 vibration, like I'm a 4711 this lifetime, but that's past the 33. And so I keep choosing to come back because I like playing on this playground. I know some people refer to it as a school. I call it my playpen, to see what I want to get into and mess around with this lifetime.
Yeah, I mean, there are different ways of understanding how the soul works. And I think numerology and astrology are some of those ways of the map that we brought, with us.
Hmm.
Um, They show us our truth in different ways. And it just makes things more fun, actually, right? I mean, you do a little bit of numerology here, you do a little astrology here, you kind of make this game a little more fun. This game of getting to know who you truly are as a soul, right?
Oh,
Um,
yes.
so,
I when I first jumped into all of this stuff, I thought like going to a psychic was the biggest thing, and because that was a no-no back in back in the day, and and I thought, oh, I need to know about my future, but you know what? You really don't need to know about your future. You really
mhm.
need to know how to heal your heart and your soul. I think that's the most important thing than worrying about what's going to happen tomorrow,
Yeah, because what if tomorrow is a clean slate that you can write on, right?
right? Yeah, I'm totally with you there. Like I used to think, oh, I need to find out what my future is. And it's exciting and then it happens and then you're like bored after that.
Mhm.
But when you're doing this type of work, what you're doing, there's never get boring.
Oh my goodness, every single regression I've done has been so different. There are certain regressions where, ascended masters have shown up and given messages to me and to the client. There are some regressions where, I mean, each one is incredible, actually. Um, I do offer what is called future life progressions, and which are not foretelling or predicting the future, but it is getting a sense of what your future might look like depending on the choices you're making in this lifetime. So it's a really exciting thing to do, and it's an exciting area for people to go into. And Dr. Weiss did teach us that as well. Um, but in no way does it predict your future. It just kind of gives you a sense of what it might look like. And I'm telling you, you do not want to see what your future looks like.
No.
Frankly, why not just let it be a nice, wonderful surprise? I mean, live your present fully, be joyful in your present, do good, and and put your faith in your guides and the universe and source, and leave that whole, you know, slate wide open
Yeah,
for
I'm totally
something
with you.
beautiful to show up.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So, one of our listeners says, "I wish I was able to get this done." Well, you can because she can do it via the internet and with Skype or Zoom or whatever or Facebook
Mhm.
Messenger. One of our listeners asked, "So, where do you go to get your own past life regression? Where do you do it?" But you went to Dr. Weiss, right? And you don't do it anymore.
Yes. Yes, I studied with Dr. Weiss. I trained with him, and then I trained with Dr. Linda Backman. And Dr. Linda Backman taught me the next level, which Dr. Weiss does not offer, by the way. I don't think he even does them himself, which is the Between Lives Soul Regression. And if I need to do them, I ask a hypnotherapist friend. We always might do an exchange, or whatever works out between us, we might do it for each other. It's always wonderful to work with other hypnotherapists as fellow hypnotherapists, because each one is so unique in how we do and the information we get from a session. And I think it's because of the specific um, vibration that we work from, and the kind of soul we each one is. Uh, we are all so different as a soul
Hmm.
doing this work. And so, for example, a lot of people might wonder, what was the need to go to Between Life Soul Regression? Why train in that? it's because when I started to do past life regressions after training with Dr. Weiss, the people who were coming to me were sometimes not going into past lives. They were going somewhere else, and they were going to different realms. And I needed to know how to navigate them once they went to these other star systems or, dimensions. And that's when I started looking for more information and found Dr. Newton's work, and then went to Dr. Backman and trained in Between Lives. Um, so it's literally like, you get guidance like that. And in my case, the guidance came from those who came to me to work with me. They nudged me to the next level of my training.
That is amazing. What do
So
your
it's
parents think about this?
I think that's a great question. So my parents, they grew up in very modern India, where people don't usually do this stuff. Some people don't even believe in this stuff anymore. Even though I have to say, I grew up, and most of us grow up. If you're growing in a Hindu family, reincarnation is totally accepted. It's
Mhm.
like there, but people don't want to go there because it's a little scary, right?
Mm.
um, and in my family, we had our own stories that, my uncle is supposed to be, um, uh, my a reincarnation of somebody who was born earlier in my family, and my great grandmother always mentioned that. So, all these stories are part of what you grew up with over there. But still, they were initially skeptical. Um, I have to say, though, that my father has been an incredible supporter of my work. He totally got it, because he acknowledges, some of the out of body experiences he has had. Um, he has always been super interested in learning about the occult and, about the soul, even though he's a very practical person who runs, a few businesses, and he has to be a very sort of like a three-dimensional person, but he isn't. And he's allowed me to share this um, in a way um, that I feel supported by my parents. Um, but yeah, initially they were a little surprised, and they were like, "What? we thought you were gonna be in academia. What happened here?" I'm sorry, got redirected.
That is so funny. I was listening to a scientist today that channels archangels, and she went into the scientific field and then did a 360, and she was guided to write a book about archangels and channel them. So it's amazing. You go one step. So what were you to be before you switched into this gear?
Oh my God, yeah. So I have a doctorate in art education, and I would have been an academic. I was trained to be an academic with an arts background, training teachers to become art teachers at
Huh?
public schools. That would have been my job. But I happened to move to Silicon Valley, and this isn't a very super friendly place for arts professionals. And I really struggled here to find a job that fit, you know, me. And so um, there were two things going on in parallel for me. One was my academic work, and the other was overcoming this crazy fear of death, which I had, for which I was studying past life regression. So at one point, when I got tired of looking for jobs, I started to volunteer. And when I started to volunteer, I at one of my volunteering gigs is where I had my awakening. And in that awakening, as a part of that awakening, I got messages from archangels. Now, I'm a Hindu. I did not grow up knowing the archangels. So I had studied archangels just a teeny tiny bit as part of, Western iconography, Italian art, or,
Uh-huh.
um, but really, I didn't know their characteristics. It was just like, okay, looking at, you know, this is Gabriel, and here's Gabriel, announcing to Virgin Mary about, you know, the coming of Christ and all that. I mean, yeah, but there was no way for me to connect with Gabriel. But hey, here I am getting visions of Gabe talking to me and telling me the purpose of my life is to help people who are grieving, who are deeply entrenched in grief. And I'm thinking, wow, am I supposed to do art therapy? Is that what I'm supposed to do? And the archangels said, no, you have to figure that part out on your own. And so it was kind of a bumpy ride for
Hmm.
me that way. But then there was also a light bulb moment when it was like, oh my God, I've been studying regression therapy to overcome my fear of death. And now I don't have a fear of death, but maybe that's the path I need to take. And the moment I came to that realization, everything fell into alignment. You know, getting into Dr. Brian Weiss's course, getting his training. Um, I can't even look back and imagine doing anything else. You know, with Dr. Weiss coming in my visions just before I started my training with him, how does that stuff even happen if you aren't meant to do it?
Right.
I mean, why would the archangels come and like talk to you about this is what you're meant to do, right? So it has been just incredible how I've been guided to the path that I'm on now.
I think it's amazing. And thank you for sharing that with us because so many people need to stop and listen to the messages that are coming through. If you're getting resistant in something that you're doing, that's not what you're supposed to be doing.
And when you're in alignment with something, things move really smoothly. They just start falling into place like pieces of a puzzle. And I've seen that happen in my life. Um, I think it's super important to listen to that voice coming from deep within that's telling you where to go, or to stop and just listen and pay attention, um, and learning about your own soul's vibration, and knowing that if something doesn't feel right, it probably isn't, because it's not vibrating right with your soul's resonance. Um, and the more we learn to move with our soul's resonance, um, the easier it gets for us to fall into alignment with our path, the path we are meant to be on.
Yeah, I agree. So you're married too, right?
Yes,
And
I
and
am.
and what does your husband think about this?
Yes, my husband, he had a very difficult time with it, I have to confess. And there's still parts of this which he doesn't get, but I am really appreciative that when I am doing my work, there is no interference and I'm able to do it. without having to deal with, you know, family stuff going on. So he takes care of that when I am doing this work. And so I'm really appreciative of that, even if he doesn't understand what exactly I do. And um, he does not really agree with what I do.
There we go. Some more female suppression work going on there. All right.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's taught me to as a soul, because one of the biggest things that I've learned from my journey as a regression therapist is to see everyone like a soul. So when somebody says, "Hey, we don't get what you're doing," I see it that soul challenging my soul to live my truth, you know, and
Yes.
teach me to be stronger as a soul. So I always say thank you to them. Thank you for reminding me that I need to keep doing this.
Oh, I've got so many more questions, but I wanted to do a meditation where we have about 10 minutes left. And I really
Mhm.
wanted to do a meditation for the listeners because I know you do that too as well. So, would you mind guiding us through a meditation? And then I'll have you on a show sometime this summer. We'll revisit and I'll get to ask some more amazing questions.
Absolutely. I'll be happy to be back and answer more questions. Um, Now, for meditation, which, gosh, meditation has really seen me through these years when we have all lived through COVID. And I highly recommend meditation as a practice to help us keep centered. Um, it has helped me with my anxiety. Um, I have a family history, you know, my mom's side of panic attacks and stuff like that. And it's totally helped me stay centered during difficult times. So it comes highly recommended. So if everyone can find a quiet space, a comfortable space to sit down. This is totally extempore. I haven't prepared any meditation. I'm just going to help you center in a short time. So just close your eyes. Um, is it okay for me to just stop my camera?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, because that helps me
Okay.
with, you know, I like to close my eyes and kind of not be distracted. So just sit down comfortably, easily. It's a good idea to have your feet firmly on the ground. Or if you're sitting Indian style, that's fine too. But try to keep your spine erect, your back straight, and keep your hands on your lap, looking up the sky, open to the sky to receive. And I always ask everybody to keep their hands open like that to receive the blessings that come from Source when we are meditating. And now, as you are seated comfortably, easily, I want you to take a deep breath in through your nose and hold it just for a moment. You can fill up your stomach with air as you take a deep breath in, hold, and release through your mouth. Try to make the release a tad bit longer than the inhale. So let's do it one more time. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Hold. And let go through your mouth. And one more time, take a deep breath in through your nose. Hold. And release. And now just bring your attention to your breath. Easy, comfortable breath. Just normal breath. Breathing in and breathing out. And breathing in more relaxation. And breathing out any anxiety, any restlessness in the body. Just simple breathing in, breathing out. And now bring your attention to your right foot and feel it relaxing. And feel the relaxation flow up your leg, your right leg, your right knee, your thigh, and your hips. Feel relaxation flow into your left foot. Feel the left leg relax, your knee and your left thigh. And feel this warm relaxation flow up your hips, your genitals, your stomach, your abdomen. Feel all the organs in those areas relax. And feel this relaxation flow up your lower back, all along your spine, up to your upper back. Feel any tension in those parts leave your body. And now feel this wonderful relaxation flow into your shoulders. And if there is any weight that you are carrying in this moment, the weight of work, the weight of relationships, whatever that weight may be, just let it go. And with every breath, feel the relaxation fill in your chest, your lungs, and feel your heart completely relax. And feel this beautiful relaxation flow up your neck, relaxing all the muscles there. There's so much tension we accumulate looking down on our devices, staring at the computer screen, and just keeping your eyes closed. Feel this warm relaxation flow up your throat, releasing any emotions or words or feelings stuck in your throat, relaxing all the muscles there. And now feel this wonderful relaxation flow up your scalp, your head. Feel every hair follicle in your scalp relax completely. Feel all the tension leave your body. And feel this relaxation flow into your forehead, relaxing your forehead, your temples, relaxing all the muscles around your eyebrows and your eyes. Feel this wonderful warm relaxation flow into your cheekbones, flow along the bridge of your nose, and feel this relaxation. Loosen up your jaw, relaxing it, releasing any tension. Feel the muscles of your mouth completely relax. Feel this beautiful relaxation flow into your ears, clearing out your ears, and move along your earlobes, behind your ears. Feel your whole body relax completely. Feel all the organs in your body relax and release any tension. And stay with this relaxation, this comfort, this peace. And one more time, take a deep breath in and let go. And when you feel ready, you may open your eyes. Namaste.
Namaste. I love it. Do you have any meditations on YouTube, or what did you guys do during the pandemic?
Yes, so during the pandemic, I was guided to lead meditations. I was told by my guides that a lot of people were going to experience anxiety. And so I started to guide meditations. And there came a beautiful opportunity to do meditations through a wonderful arts organization called Chopsticks Alley. With Chopsticks Alley, I created, with their help, we together created a program called Midday Medi-Veggie, where every Wednesday from 12 to 1 for an hour, we would talk about wellness and I would lead a meditation, a live meditation. So we did that for about 40 weeks and we finally ended May of last year. Um, and it was just incredible. So I do have a YouTube channel. Again, all you have to do is look up for Kinder Way Healing. And on my YouTube channel, there are several meditations all available for free. Um, so feel free to pick up any meditation that you feel attracted to. And they're all short meditations from about, 14, 15 minutes to 20 minutes max. There's full moon meditation. There's all kinds of meditations there. Meditation for grief, meditation to receive messages from a loved one. Um, just go pick whatever pulls you, uh, and just do it. Um, so, and I keep adding to my YouTube channel, so there will be more meditations I will be adding too.
I love it. I love it. So how far booked are you out right now in 2022 for a session?
So my January is booked and I'm available rest of the year right now. I decided to take it a little bit slow.
Mhm.
Once again, guidance from my team. Um, and because I will be creating workshops, I will be working on workshops. I will have more presentations like the Reincarnation Symposium also happening this year. Um, I am going to be working on a book as well. Um, so just to be able to pay attention to those projects, I'm not booking myself extensively, but I'm definitely available most of the year right now to work with people.
Beautiful. And again, that's Kinder Way Healing is the website, correct?
Yes.
And is there any message that you want to share with our listeners before we end the show tonight? And you were absolutely fabulous, by the way.
Thank you. Um, it has been my absolute pleasure to be here and to share some bits and pieces of my life's journey. I just want the viewers to know that it's really important to spend some time, especially during the kind of times that we are living through, to spend a little bit of time every day with yourself in quietude. Because when you are quiet and at peace within, that's the time your guides can reach you and let you know what your next steps should be. So, in order to receive messages clearly regarding what your life's journey um, is about and what direction to take, um, if you are interested in connecting with your guides and receiving those messages, so you have greater clarity around your life's purpose and your soul's purpose, it's really important to go into a space of quietude and isolation on a regular basis. Um, the second thing I would want to say is these times are great times to go within and ask questions like, what am I really doing here? What is the reason for me to be living at this time on earth when we are all experiencing these kind of situations like COVID? Is there a greater purpose? And if so, what is it? Ask those questions. Find out what you're doing here, and use every moment of your life in either a creative pursuit or bringing greater joy for yourself and others. There's no point in getting into squabbles and you know, small-mindedness. We are all being asked to move into a bigger mind, the larger consciousness. And these, I feel like COVID is the opportunity that we've been given to get there. So do that introspection, do that inner work, spend time with yourself, and pour love into your soul, pour love into yourself. And then you'll find that you'll have more love to give others. So those would be my messages.
And they are absolutely beautiful messages. Carol Louie said, "Love your meditation and the work you do. Thank you."
Thank you so much, Carol. Uh, oh, I love Carol.
I do too. I'm very blessed to know her. So, all right. Well, that was an amazing show. We're going to end it now. Thank you so much, Dr. Smita, for your time and your beautiful energy. And I just feel so uplifted right now, like I can run a marathon.
Oh, it was my pleasure to be here, and your energy is so beautiful as well. Thank you for the work that you are doing. Um, this is really important work.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. We can't wait to have you back in the in the near future, and we definitely want to get you back on before that symposium that you're going to be on, so we can
Well,
talk
I
about
sure hope I am. I hope Carol
that.
Carol.
Yes, we'll
I
have to
have
get
too
Carol
small
on there
self
too.
myself. I've just kind of
Are you doing the symposium that's coming up with her in January, or they got some kind of thing going on in January?
Well, that's the holistic fair. No, I'm not on that holistic fair because I think they do have some in-person folks and practitioners there.
Hmm.
So, and that's happening, at the site in Virginia. Uh, but I'm not participating in that one.
Gotcha. I gotcha. All right, folks. Want to thank you guys so much for joining us and being a part of this beautiful energy that here tonight. We will see you next Saturday night when we're going to have um, Miss Love on the show. And I can't even think of her first name right now. It's eluding me because my energy is so high. Like I said, I want to run a marathon right now because I got so much of it going on. But we're going to have her on the show. And I look forward to seeing you guys next week. And again, Dr. Smita, thank you for being part of this beautiful energy tonight.
Thank you.
All right.
Love
Everyone
to
have a
be
good
here.
night.